Welcome back to ACL's coverage of the Oceanic Open Ladder. My name is Jake Hysterix, Aussie Penko, and with me always is Nathan Mendrix Mendez. And we've had a pretty heavy afternoon. So much competitive play coming out and about and showing us who's really the boss in this game. And we've got some pretty similar contenders coming through. Once again, for the third time in a row, we've got Passionfruit.
Good old Passionfruit. They're definitely showing us. They've been giving us a really good show, especially with Anime is cool. I'm very excited to see what he pulls out this game. Let's see if they're going to ban out the Hecarim and the Aurelia from the poor guy. Maybe that's going to be their plan of attack.
You can't leave that Aurelia and Hecarim open. Look at this. Callista and Azir gets banned to start off. We're moving into that lobby now as we speak. But the favorite thing I want to point out for you is that we haven't seen much about Abyss Esports Black. Now, the great thing is that it's like the 5th time in a row we don't know much about the teams. Mysterious clouding comes from out the surface.
The veils are around.
The veils are around. We look at the bans now. Azir, Callista, Gragas. Not sure Abyss have a handle on who they should be banning. Looks like Anime Cool bans the Hecarim. He's like, guys, you can't let me on the Hecarim, all right? I just can't do it, all right? Yeah, I'm not going to do that. If he bans Aurelia, it's just like, okay, look, I'm going to show you that I can play other people.
Fair enough. I mean, he did do an amazing job on both of them, and we did hype it up a lot. It'd be very interesting to see if they do ban it out and say, look, I don't need these champions to win. I'm going to show you more. But Sejuani gets picked up.
Sejuani gets taken away from Mr. Monkey. And, of course, we don't know the patterns of these junglers. So maybe Sejuani, really big risk factor for Passionfruit. And Rek'Sai, of course, getting taken out. A really standard banning phase coming through. So Azir, though, haven't seen Xiaomane on the Azir. But maybe they know him better than we do.
It could be that just possibly they don't want to face it with the team comp that they've planned for this. Sometimes teams ban out who they do not want to verse. They know that this particular champion completely stops their strategies.
Yeah.
And generally, he is fantastic for zoning, putting out those soldiers everywhere. He's got an amazing shield initiate if he wants to go in. And he is very powerful in the late game. He continues to scale on very well. So it could be that they know Xiaomane plays it and they go, okay, look, we just don't want to deal with an Azir because 1, we know he can play it. 2, we don't want to verse it in general.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
let's just get rid of it now.
You definitely don't want that Azir, and his auto attacks are just so hugely scaling. And here we go. Here's a relentless pick phase that we normally see. The Janna getting picked first for Abyss. A really nice first pick, but the Lucian gets locked in straight away. Maybe they heard our plays. We wanted to see Lucian down in the bottom lane. And Rainey's going to have an attempt at that as Kotoroi locks in the Nunu.
Very specific pick there, just nice with the meta. He's fantastic at that neutral objective control, so very easy pick with the Nunu. But I like the look of Lee Sin. Lee Sin is sort of coming back into popularity because, again, Cinderhulk may have been not nerfed that heavily, but it's been nerfed enough to bring back some of these warrior jungles. But never mind. Looks like there's a Maokai.
Oh, the Maokai might make an appearance once again, but that doesn't matter because, Anime is cool, has dealt with one before. He can deal with it again. But the question is, does he know his opponent's skill level? Does he know what his opponent's capable of? Something could come out of the brush and hit him hard, So that's really what I look forward to as the Maokai gets locked in. And the Jinx as well for Commando. Of course, Sugoi is gonna go on that Janna, so that's going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah, definitely. That's a fantastic name. Sugoi. But yeah, basically they got that bot lane picked up. Still left to go. We still have that flex pick with the Maokai for the side of Abyss. So they could either go with that in the jungle or top. We don't know where that's really going to go. We have to wait and see. Seeing as he hovered Lee Sin before, it's a possibility that he wanted to pick Maokai for his jungle. However, there's a Gnar coming on the side of Passionfruit. Now, Gnar's just, again, an all-round strong champion. Wasn't used to...
But he was brutally bullied last game.
Yeah.
And maybe he wants to pick the Gnar and say, hey, look, this is how you play the Gnar. This is how you get ahead early. He might be trying to set an example. I mean, Anime is cool. Does quite, what's the word to say here? He knows his top lane that well that he can, he can have a bit of a flex pick. And the Gnar is coming through here. So we're going to see that get locked in along with the Morgana by Xiaomane this time. And with Lucian Morgana bottom lane, that's really good synergy in comparison to Janna and Jinx. Not to say that it's not, but more so coming forward from the Morgana and Lucian.
Yeah, definitely. If you manage to get that binding off from Morgana, Lucian follows up with a double tap into his piercing light. He'll do a very good job making sure he can trade effectively and a lot of burst damage coming through. Again, Lucian's a great pick for those tanks as well because that double tap doesn't suffer from them, having it basically
Yeah,
goes through and hits
yeah.
a lot of damage on top of that. You may have Frozen Heart to try and stop the auto attack damage and try to slow down these ADC carries. Lucian doesn't suffer from that because he just goes through, uses his casting abilities, and gets double tap auto attacks from his passive.
And look at Commando, of course, with the clarity and clairvoyance, I think, getting picked up, or whatever the summoner spells are. Nice and blue, of course, by Miss Fish as well. And Commando gonna probably end up locking in that Orianna, and the Lee Sin gets locked in as well. So I guess we will see Lee Sin in the jungle, Maokai on the top. Pretty standard stuff coming through, and the farming Orianna moving to that mid lane.
Yeah, definitely. And there's been a hover for Bard, so maybe that Morgana is in the mid lane. Never mind.
Or Katarina. Or it's a Katarina.
Or it's a Katarina support. We will never know. Some of these metas that these teams come up with sometimes surprise even us. But safe to say it's probably going to be a Ziggs in the middle.
Wow, okay. Well, I think you said that 2 seconds before Ziggs got picked. Anyway, that's very safe to say indeed. It's going to be a farming mid lane coming through. The Orianna with, of course, her clear and her command attack is just so versatile. Ziggs with his bouncing bombs can hit anywhere, and the cooldown of that is so low that, well, actually, both of their cooldowns are so low, but it doesn't matter because, they're going to actually make it more than a farming lane, make it a bit of an aggressive lane. If we do see the Lulu pick up, could really highlight that team composition there.
Definitely. Now, Lulu could either be, again, in the mid lane, so we're kind of confused. We have to wait and see what happens with the swaps here, whether or not Xiaomane's going to swap out that Morgana. Or it depends. Like, Xiaomane might swap with Xiaomane.
Are they messing? Are they messing? We're waiting for it. No, it actually looks like the Morgana coming into the mid lane with the Lulu support, unless they change last minute. But we've got a Nara in the top lane once again with a Maokai. Pretty standard stuff. We haven't seen any difference between the Hecarim, the Aurelia, the Gnar, and the Maokai. Pretty standard top laners coming through. And you see the Lee Sin in the jungle once again. That warrior coming back in, the double smite Nunu. What I'm more curious about is the fact that there's a Morgana in the mid lane against that Orianna.
Definitely. Well, Morgana is still a fantastic pick in the mid lane. She's got a lot of pushing power. Essentially, she can match Orianna with that pushing power that they both have together. She's also got that shield for that shockwave. So if Orianna tries to engage and all in her, throwing that shield out, throwing a shockwave out, black shield time, no worries. I can just walk away after that particular after that shockwave comes through. On top of that, she does have amazing teamfight potential, and those soul shackles are going to really hurt this time around because guess what? She's farming.
I'm really surprised that they didn't go Lulu mid. I was seeing that coming, but the dream of Morgana middle with the huge damage, those bindings take like half your health if they hit.
Yeah.
It's pretty much like a one-trick pony. You land the bindings, you win. You don't land the bindings, you don't. I mean, that's the same with support, but more so with your mid laner when you need them to do that AP damage. If you don't land the binding, it's kind of like, you're like walking bait.
Yeah, pretty much. Although that Black Shield does really help out with those heavy initiate sort of teams. So we do have a Gnar. Imagine a Gnar with a Black Shield running at your face. You're going to be very, very scared because he's going to get up right in your face, use his Mega Gnar ultimate, push you against a wall, and then from there, you're free to Soul Shackles.
Yeah, and the Soul Shackles are really what start and hold that team fight. You've got a Lucian in the back with the culling. You've got the wild growth possibility coming from any of your champions from that Lulu. And of course, you've got the Gnar. When his Gnar bar's full, he turns into his big mega self, and he can zone off, up to 5, all members of the team at once. Nunu with absolute 0. It's all about zoning ults. It's about that team fight wombo combo. They time that right. They position themselves right. The team fight coming from Passionfruit is just going to explode.
Yeah, definitely. And look on the side for the blue team in this regard with the Maokai, they've got a lot of wombo combos themselves. So Eternal really do have a lot with. Oh, sorry, not Eternal. Abyss.
Yeah.
My bad. Eternal was the last game.
Close enough.
Close enough. Abyss have a lot on their side where they do have the disengage they need, but a lot of engage with the Maokai. They've got the kickback from Lee Sin. And to top it all off, if Lee Sin decides to go in and he does get caught out, well, I can put a ball on his head and shockwave the whole team into it. So they've got a lot of opportunities to really start and engage, and they've got a lot of ball delivery systems for Orianna.
Don't you think it would have been more efficient to maybe go for the Rengar? Of course, go with that thrill of the hunt. And I hear that you can put the ball on top and just stealth your way in neck minute.
There's a lot of uses. Like you can even use that with Lulu and Rengar. I think to a degree in Korea they were using it a lot, where you had the fight. They call it the speedy cat, and you basically throw the shield on him, make him go super super fast. He'd come running in as soon as he entered the battle. There was a wild growth knocking everyone up into it. There's a lot of ways you can do about it. Rengar's a fantastic pick all along, especially when you've got these these champions with ball delivery systems or ball delivery things like Orianna as well, like to buff them up and do way more damage when it does come in for the team fight. But it's, you know, it's a lot of if and or. It doesn't really matter who's actually getting in there to deliver the system or for the ball to go off, as long as someone gets in there and does it.
I mean, yeah, no, as long as someone does it, you know, that's all right.
Exactly.
Whatever happens. But that shockwave is going to be a real dictator in team fights. Get the five-person shockwave, and you're going to see like a lot of stuff going on for that team. But I still think
3K Elo shockwave.
3K Elo.
3K Elo shockwave.
Okay, fair enough. Well, look, whatever the shockwave does, I don't get it. What do you mean 3K Elo?
3K Elo, so challenge level shockwave.
Oh, okay.
You get those ones off. That's a 5-man shockwave.
Dude,
That's
I'm
what
silver. I'm silver. All right, just cool it down. All right, like some terms, I'm not gonna get.
That's okay. That's fine.
I'll see you up there in platinum one day or wherever. But like, coming back to the side, and we do see an Orianna who's got a lot of team fight capabilities. Let's move on to the Lucian, who has a lot of kiting. Obviously, other team we see not Abyss, but we see Passionfruit harbinging. Of course, holding on to that Lucian. That's a better word. Holding on to that Lucian. The culling is just going to sit in that back line while all these other team fight momentums come in there from the Gnar, from the Nunu, from the Morgana, from the Lulu.
Yeah.
There's just so many categories in there that you're just going to go, okay, I'll put that in, put that in, put that in. So many recipes for disaster coming at Abyss. And then you've got the Lucian in the back line who's like, okay, kite, bang. You know, I'll just relentless pursuit that way or relentless pursuit that way. Ardent Blaze here, double shot, you know, piercing light, you know, double shot. You know, culling comes out again because you've been in the fight for a minute, you know, double shot. You know, it's that crazy to think that Lucian can't just sweep through the enemy team and clear it out, getting another pentakill of the day for an ADC.
No, definitely. Lucian's got a lot of options. That's why he's such a mobile ADC, and he seems to be coming back into meta, especially with the recent Graves nerfs. Before, there was a little joke going around saying, well, there's Graves, and then there's worse Graves, aka referring to Lucian. But Lucian now, he seems to be the one, well, because of this tank meta, Graves isn't so good anymore. Lucian's actually a lot better.
And that's what we were talking about earlier, wasn't it? Where the Graves not that relevant, but they haven't decided to pick up Graves this time. It's gone for the Jinx and the Lucian, the 2v2, I should say, with that bottom lane. Of course, you've got the Janna and the Lulu. We're moving straight into the game now. Of course, we've got Abyss on the blue side, and we've got Team Passionfruit once again on the red side, and things are just heating up in the open ladder. We've got so much going on, and Passionfruit are just this team that's like a steam train. They're just rolling through the teams, and if they can do that again, they're just one step closer to proving their worth.
Yeah, definitely. And they're looking to go in for a very quick invade. That ward goes down very quickly. Will they be able to get it? No, unfortunately.
It spots them out.
Yeah, and they just got a sort of a line of scrimmage being put out there on the side of Abyss, making sure they got all their bases covered.
Yeah.
Maokai's moving in to put a ward there to know when Nunu's actually going to try and take that.
And Rainy, look, he's got good positioning to start off. He's sitting behind that Nunu, waiting for something to be made. Kotori is looking for a snowball, and Xiaomain is looking for that binding, which goes way off for the time being. And BTKA is just going to have to go back. But that binding, I think that should have been a little bit more accurate.
Yeah, definitely. It was almost a point-blank shot for him, so missing it there was probably just some fancy footwork by the Orianna, and she was able to escape through. She's got that really nice skin, which is the frozen one, so all those little poros appeared as she backed away.
Oh, great! You know, they can bring her home, bring her back to misery. The poros are a harbinger for disaster. Harbinger. It is harbinger.
Harbinger.
Right?
Okay.
Okay, like they harbor.
Okay.
Okay, we're getting along this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting along. That's all right. But we see pretty standard lanes coming forward here, and a lot of potential just to maybe outfarm this. Anime is cool, knows what goes on with the Maokais. Looking to steal this away. Might not actually get the experience. Might actually share it with the Gnar in the end. And Fish is forced to go back, and looks like Gnar's going to get the level 2, get the top lane, and force a teleport out of the Maokai. He would have used it anyway, but to know that he has to use it level 1, kind of disheartening.
Yeah, on top of that, he really wanted to go into that lane with a lot more sustain that he had. He was going to go in with that, and
look at this. Wait for this Nunu. Wait for the camera to come here. Kotori steals it quite nicely, and takes a binding. BDKA only just reaching level 2 now, gets the command protect with the combination of the W. BTKA is here, still taking damage. First blood goes to him. Nunu eats something and gets a kill for the, for the mid lane Morgana.
Style points.
Yeah, there you go. And it looks like just a mid lane trade-off as Rainy's trying to cut this out. And trading off, continuing throughout the whole map.
Yeah, definitely. Abyss Commando and Rainy just throwing out their rockets at each other and they're pissing lights, seeing who can get down who. The poke battles will go in favor of Passionfruit. Abyss Mrs. Fish is just going to try and force out this Gnar, but he's got his Mega Gnar coming on through, and now he doesn't have as much sustain. That damage was fantastic for him there.
Oh, Sugoi's trying to harass Chow Mein, but Commando in his own essence is getting harassed. The Helen Gale hits the Lucian, and they're just going to back off each other. Yeah,
it seems to be, it's funny, to be honest. Lulu and Janna are very similar supports. They both have shields. They both provide auto attack damage increases. On top of that, they're very poke heavy. The biggest thing though is that Lulu's ultimate is very different to Janna's. That's the big thing. But they do have capabilities just to speed each other up. One's a speed up, one's a slow. I think the kit's a bit more overloaded on Lulu's side, and that's probably why they seem to be sort of pushing through here. But Abyss Commando is doing a good job of just forcing that lane forward and letting them get that level advantage.
Miss Fish can't get anywhere near this Gnar without taking some damage, so he's just going to wait for that to push naturally. Gnar sending out his boomerang, getting a bit of harass there, and Anime is doing well once again. 21 to 17 CS. His early game getting ahead is what makes him unique. His mid game is what makes him powerful, and his late game is just what makes him crazy. So a lot of hype going on about Anime is cool. Can he continue to play a really strong top lane, though?
I think the whole reason why he made his name Anime is to be cool, because he wanted the world to know Anime is cool. And if I get really good at League of Legends, everyone will know. So, very good work, just spreading the word out for all those non-believers out there.
Naturally. And Rainy goes in straight on Commando, but gets hit by a trap. But looks like they're still sticking around for this one. Zap takes a lot of damage off, and trading off continues once again.
Fairly even trade on both sides there. If you didn't get stuck by those traps going on through, but they're going back in.
It looks like Chow Mein wants something else out of this fight. A nice shield, but again, nothing happens.
Pretty much, it's just trading all the way through. 1 for 1 at the time being. First Blood is in the favor of Passionfruit at the moment, but thing is that I'm sorry, no, it's in the favor of
Abyss, yeah.
Abyss at the moment. But going through, managing to pick up that 1 kill and the assist is what they really needed as well. And, so that makes up for that First Blood, because there's an assist.
It definitely does. And the Lucian with 5 extra CS at the moment, and we see the Orianna. This is where the advantage is starting to lie. The Orianna against the Morgana, not going too well on the CS. That's about a 15 CS disadvantage already. Now, for a Morgana, that is very strange. There's a lot of clear potential there. And we see Lee Sin coming down here straight on Rainy, misses the Sonic Wave and can't finish it up with a Resonating Strike. Mr. Monkey, a bit of poor performance there, but good kiting by Rainy.
Yeah, definitely. Rainy did a really good job to make sure he could dodge the Sonic Wave coming out from Lee Sin. Lee Sin's probably been put behind a bit because he wasn't able to get his red buff from the Nunu. Nunu did a great job stealing it. Camera was very quick also, trying to make it seem as if he wasn't there at all.
Oh, definitely. And Nunu still just farming away his jungle. Already on his first kill. He's stolen Lee Sin's red. He's capitalized a bit out of that jungle. And we're going to have to wait until he tries and does the dragon, or he makes his way back into Lee Sin's jungle. And that's going to be something either very funny or very sad for the Lee Sin.
I think it's definitely going to be a bit of both if that situation goes through. But he seems to be making his way towards that dragon area now. I think he just wants to get an idea of where he is at the moment, so that way he's free to take that. And he puts down that pink ward and he's going to pick up a pink ward for his troubles.
And Nunu looking so strong at the moment, just generally in the meta. And something that, oh my god, punched mid-air. As I was saying that, oh, Anime is cool. Gotta rethink that one. Miss Fish just backs off half health, and that was well done by Miss Fish.
Yeah, that looked really nice actually, watching her just sort of get punted away. It looks like Gnar Ping Pong is still happening in the games.
Yeah, definitely. And the Gnar Ping Pong will continue throughout it. And Xiaoman goes full into this BTK, looking for a kill, gets the stun. There's so much stun potential coming through. Mr. Monkey looking to reciprocate this damage coming through. Orianna is still in the lane, so the Shockwave may be able. Oh my god, the ball traveled so far, but it just went out of range. And Corduroy does now have his absolute zero if he wants to use it on Sugoi. Sugoi going under the turret, going to survive that one. And it turns into a trade. that Passionfruit win.
Yeah, very well done there by Magona to sort of bait that Lee Sin in. He didn't have his kick. If he had his kick, he could have easily just popped in through and assassinated her. However, she went really aggressive, and Oriana basically stopped her from being able to deal any real damage to her straight away and just force her away from the fight. And there was a great follow-up from the bot lane coming through afterwards by Xiao Main, and a good follow-up from Nunu, opening up the Dragon for them.
Here comes the double smite coming through. Dragon just gets eaten alive, and there's the first Dragon of the game going straight to Team Passionfruit.
And basically showing their dominance throughout this tournament as they've been doing the whole time. And Anime is Cool's going in.
Once again, Miss Fish trying to use the Twisted Advance to get away. It doesn't look like he will get away from Anime's Cool for the time being. He throws a rock in anger and just runs away.
Yeah, just throwing those building pieces as far as he possibly can, hoping to hit a tree in the process. But this tree can actually walk.
Yeah, unfortunately that the tree is so versatile at this stage of the game. 56 to 59 CS. Nah only just holding on to that lead, and Nunu, of course, only 4 CS ahead in the jungle. We look at the mid lane where there's still a CS advantage for the Oriana, who's really capitalized on the jungle pressure along with that Janna. Anime is Cool. Looks like he might be able to get Miss Fish now, doing so much damage with that 3 proc passive. The boomerang hits and the passive is off, but Miss Fish has no mana. Flashes the sapling toss, unable to outplay it. Well played by Miss Fish, though, to last that long, and Nah picks up his first kill of the game.
Yeah, and Nah's actually going very tanky at the moment. He's already picked up a giant spell there, and he was able to pull off the same amount of damage. And the tree had just come back with a catalyst as well, so he wasn't no tank himself. He actually sort of had a bit of an advantage going into that game with that particular build. He would have had more combat-ready stats because you would have 2 drawing rings built into it, and they're actually really powerful the more you have early. But now it's going to really help out Nah as well, because that means he's going to scale not as hard as the tree, and Nah's going to come back far more powerful. He's picked up his pickaxe.
Yeah, the pickaxe, a bit of damage coming through, so we might actually see a bit of a Frozen Mallet coming through here. Commando takes so much damage just from that little trade-off. He's got to be careful in this bot lane. Lucian and the Lulu combination, a lot of damage. A nice dodge by the Duck Biting in the middle. And just to finish off, coming up there, Frozen Mallet? No?
Possibly, yeah, definitely a good chance that it'll be a Frozen Mallet. There's not much Maokai can really do once the Frozen Mallet starts. I've actually seen a lot of Nards doing it recently, and it's a fantastic build because he's basically going for this one-on-one duelist build, and if anyone tries to run from him, they can't, because he's got initially the slow from his boomerang, and then on top of that, his auto attacks will be slowing you as well. So that stacks really well. It ends up synergizing really well the fact that he's going to get tanky as time goes on, and then he's going to keep you in place, or locked in place.
And already the pickaxe is showing that it does quite a bit of damage. Kotori is up here in the top, looking for the snowball against Miss Fish. Gets it off. Wow, that extra damage to go onto the Maokai. As a binding hits BTK, the shockwaves in there brought him even closer. The flash comes through, and all it takes is one more auto, which Xiaomain gets, and now the mid lane is well and truly rolling.
Yeah, and that's just showing you how Morgana is a good pick against her, because it's just that initial burst damage goes on her straight away, and even if she tries to fight back, I mean, she got that shockwave off as well. That Black Shield was late. Imagine if it was on time, it would have just been a quicker death.
Oh, and Miss Fish taking yet another hit in this top lane. Anime is cool, proving his worth as a top laner yet again. The damage from Miss Fish, huge, but Kotori and X-Main, they're in the top here. Xiaomain lands a binding, and the Absolute Zero finishes it off for Anime is cool. Looks like they might push down this top turret and get their first turret of the game for Passionfruit.
Yeah, very good rotation there. They're not going to lose anything for that. Now that Oriana's still walking back to lane, they've got 2 people on the bot lane. There's no dragon for Mr. Monkey to go after, and there's no bust for him to steal. Just an all-round great trade for Team Passionfruit. They lost nothing for that, and they gained so much more.
Oh my god, they actually might get a kill from this. The traps hit him though. Lee Sin is there looking for a rocket, but no one gets it. Teleport comes down here. Now we're going to see some business, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes Nah. Anime is cool, looking for the slow. Doesn't have Mega Nah just yet. There is the Lee Sin Sonic Wave. Is the Resonating Strike going to follow through? No, it's not just yet. And a disengaging Howling Gale gets him out nice and peacefully.
Pretty much. They went through this to see if they could do anything. Rainy and Xiaomain did a fantastic job of just staying in the lane there and not taking too much damage or basically giving up the kill. And then from there, they thought they could hang around again, see if they could force some pressure on the turret. But Nah wasn't going to let him that. Anime is cool, popped in, made sure that they couldn't do anything, and they had to back off.
Yeah, really nice positioning from Anime is cool. Although he popped his teleport for the time being, just make sure that bot lane stays alive and continues to farm. The Lucian 8 CS ahead for the time being. Not much to speak of, but If we have a look at gold now, we see that the Infinity Edge very close to getting picked up. Picked up a longsword instead, maybe going for that Vampire Acceptor for a bit more sustain, but we don't know just yet. It's BTK. Here comes the safeguard, but just knocked around, and the shockwave actually backfires a bit for Mr. Monkey. He doesn't have anything for the time being, getting slowed by Nunu's red. Morgana gets a beautiful stun, and BTK doesn't have enough mana to do anything. So it looks like Corduroy just going to push with a snowball, still going under this turret as unexpectedly. But Corduroy takes a couple of hits and he backs out.
Mr. Monkey had the right idea when he went in there. Looks like Abyss is going to pick up the Nunu for Trebles. No, he's just going to back away.
No,
he
just
knows
walks
he's
through.
too tanky to deal with.
And Commando picks up the bottom turret there. So there's the first turret before the top turret could go down for Passionfruit. And Abyss picks up their first turret of the game, really closing in that gap of the gold.
Yeah, it definitely helps a lot out, but the moment Passionfruit picks up their one, I mean, they're still 2k ahead even without any towers on the board. Imagine when they do start picking up towers, and if it's one of those cases where it starts falling around the map, which it looks like it might be because Na's been doing really well, the bot lane's also doing well, even Morgana's rolling now as well. We're talking massive power spikes across the board for Passionfruit, and Abyss might be in trouble.
Yeah, look at Abyss. They need, this is what happened the other games. There's no pressure on the map for the time being. They need to look for pick. They need more ward coverage. There's a lot of aspects here that could be improved, but all in all, both teams do make mistakes. So if they can capitalize on that, well, then there's going to be no problem there.
Definitely. So we're going to hope to see that TP advantage is going to be used by the Maokai here as they hone in for it. There it is. He's used his TP. Nara's in the bottom lane now all alone. Let's see how this fight pans out.
Miss Fish is over by the side here, waiting for the twisted advance. He does decide to pick Cottery as the target there, but the Lulu has used her ult, taking so much damage. The absolute zeros there. Gets kicked by Mr. Monkey. The Jinx and Mecha Death Rockets there. But Xiao Maiden is in the backline here, ladies and gentlemen. He comes in out of nowhere, gets every member of the other team there. Passionfruit are starting to get slain, though. The damage is too much. Maokai so tanky, Rainy not tanky enough, and now Jaemin is getting chased out. Anime and Cool not even in there yet, looking to hop on someone, but Connery's not too close that he can do that, and the Morgana had so much hope there, a little bit more damage, and that would have just been huge.
Yeah, if you just had that little bit more, then that would have been more than enough. Anime is cool now as well. He's there with all his cooldowns. There's not much they can really do to try and get this dragon at the moment. They're going to see if they can steal it away. They've got a tornado coming through, and there's a sapling. Will it be enough?
No, the double smite is just too strong at this time of the game.
There's not much you can really do against a Nunu when it comes to objective control.
No, really not. And it's great to see Nunu using it very well. He's got his sight stone. He's got some vision control. So that's 2 sight stones coming for the enemy team. Hopefully, Lee Sin will see a bit of sightstone material coming through there as well. Cottery's really good at knowing when he's in charge in his own jungle and even the enemy's jungle. Mr. Monkey, we don't know much about him yet, but it looks like his ability to keep up in the jungle has actually been pretty well.
Definitely. He's managing to hold on. He's about 10 CS behind, and he has been having a rough time considering Corduroy's been around messing him up a little bit as well. But the way the game's going now, there's a 2k lead in favor of Passionfruit.
Yeah.
But mind you, then that team fight that happened previously that they did manage to pick up the dragon for, Na wasn't there. That was purely from Xiaomei's amazing Soul Shackles coming through for her ultimate.
Which hit everyone.
Which hit them all, exactly. And an amazing kite back from Lucian. And he's going in onto Abyss.
He knows this Mega Nara is coming up, and Abyss Miss Fish. He's looking for something else in this situation. Mr. Monkey's already there. Mega Nara or not, you're going to take a lot of damage here. Oh, the kick and the ult combination. It's worked out. The flash has been forced. Sonic Wave misses there. Absolute zero hits, though. And Anime is cool, looks for the jump, but does not find it there. You can't help but laugh a little bit there. Xiaomei looks for a stun, doesn't find it. The shackles are there though. Twisted Advance might come through, looking for another Dark Binding. There is just too much going on in this top lane though, because Xiaomei not doing enough damage, gets taken out by the Maokai, and it turns into a 1-for-2 trade in the favor of Abyss.
Yeah, Xiaomei did a good job to come through and save Nunu out after. Unfortunately for Anime's Cool, he fell down from the Lee Sin pressure and the Maokai pressure. But the big problem there is that then he gave up his own kill in the process. While this has all happened, Oriana's been allowed to farm up a little bit. She's now 20 CS ahead, basically allowing her to catch up to any kills that really has gone through. And now they've also taken the turret, furthering the lead for... Well, not furthering the lead, but helping them bridge the gap for the time being.
Definitely closing that gap for Absolute. And I mean... I was about to say toilet paper. That's wrong.
Yeah.
Team Passionfruit, look, they're playing really strong at the moment. They've got to retain that lead. They've got to put more pressure onto this bot lane, in my opinion. Commando is just getting so much free access to this farm. He's catching up the lead already. He's got his BF sword. He's got his pickaxe. He's so much closer to getting that Infinity Edge. You see the Lucian who hasn't picked it up just yet. I think Commando, if played well, could 1v1 Rainy very, very easily.
Yeah, definitely he can. Jinx is one of those characters that can actually does outscale Lucian as the game goes on. Lucian is still effective throughout the entire game thanks to his double tap and the way it sort of scales and does mixed damage. However, you can't really stop that minigun. Once it's going on through and she's gotten excited, she can chase you down.
Yeah, and Jinx picks up the Infinity Edge to add to her kit. Berserker Greaves already being added to that with a longsword, so a lot of damage coming through. Morgana in the mid lane looking for a stun. Gets Shockwave, but the spell immune from the Black Shield. Very nicely played. Anime Cool just continues farming in the top lane.
And it's pretty much just the typical show that's why you pick Morgana into Orianna. Although she is ahead in CS, you can't really have the kill potential on her unless... except in that early part, but she's going in now.
So Flash comes in with the shackles, misses the binding, and BDK looks for something here. Shockwave not down, but Mr. Monkey gets a beautiful kick at it with a resonating strike, and that's going to be it for Morgana.
That's the second time Mr. Monkey's come in trying to make something happen. This time he does get, well, second time a charm, not the third time the charm. He manages to get that kick into the tower, what he was looking for before, and this time instead of dying, he gets a pickup.
And the pickup is exactly what he needs, at least in getting a couple of kills under his belt. Ninja Tabby, Sightstone, as we predicted. 3 lenses coming on Abyss's side, and 3 lenses, of course, on the side of Passionfruit, just like last game. So we haven't seen too much changing for the time being. Cottery going to clear some ward vision and make use of his lens. And really good to see that both teams have a priority over vision control. Looks like they're stacking up to this mid lane, but Anime is Cool cannot possibly defend this one.
No, and one of the things that's really happening here is, yeah, sure, Passionfruit are ahead in kills, but they've managed to close the gap in towers. And if there's no return towers happening on the side of Passionfruit, well, it's going to be a problem for them because that's a lot of global pressure that they're going to lose, and that opens up more opportunities for Abyss to really take control of the game.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, things like Dragon are now open to them if they can get a pick. Anime's Cool is a bit behind enemy lines for the time being. Chow Mein knows that, and he's keeping a bit of an eye on him, but a nice hop from Anime's Cool, dodging a potential shockwave to come through. All members of Abyss are around that mid side. Cottery and Xiao Mein are in bottom. So if they you know, look for a fight, it's going to be a 3v5. That's something you don't want, definitely.
No, but the kite back from the side of Passionfruit in that mid lane is a bit hard for them to get through. You got the hop with Nye, you got the dash and the speed up thanks to Lulu as well. So it's going to be very hard to lock them down, especially with a wild growth to protect whoever straggles. Not too much you can really do there. They pick up a free tower just from the rotations and even manage to get a bit of a siege off from the mid lane.
And there goes the minions down, looking for Miss Fish to do some damage. But Abyss are still all in that mid lane. They might look for an opportunity, and it looks like they're just holding them at bay. Meanwhile, down bottom, they push. Meanwhile, up top, they push. So it's really a it's really a split pushing game for the time being as they move to Dragon.
Yeah, 10 seconds for that Dragon to come up, and everyone is making their way there. There is a lot of pressure on the top lane now as well, so if this takes too long, someone could miss out on a lot of farm. But it definitely seems like Abyss has the drop on this Dragon.
Yeah, opening up top lane could be Passionfruit's way back into this game. Not that they've lost anything just yet, but of course their advantage has lost a little bit. You see the gold advantage from Passionfruit, only 700 gold for the time being. A while back before they got that turret, it was actually at their disadvantage. So the fact that Passionfruit are being tested here, maybe, you know, a bit too much for them. See if they can handle the pressure as they start on this Dragon with all members of Abyss sitting around this sideline here. Well, the absolute zero gets pulled off, and Miss Fish takes a lot of the damage from the culling and blocks it for the other carries. Anime Cool looking for that back line. Has to flash an ult, but gets sent flying away there. Dragon goes down, and now Rainy's back in this fight, looking for the slow from the Lulu. The binding hits on Sugoi, and Sugoi just so weak as that Janna. The Gnar pulls off, goes to that bottom lane turret, and no one dies in the end, but a Dragon does go to Passionfruit.
Pretty much very well done there by Passionfruit. They went through to start the fight, but the whole purpose of that particular skirmish was to get the Dragon. And Janna's going to see if she can try and take on the Gnar, which I don't think she can.
Not at the moment, I don't think. And John are probably trying to stop it. Might regret this one a bit. Commando gets pulled out and a bit out of position as the Morgana looks for the shackles. Doesn't actually find it. Nunu looking for his chance to go absolute zero. Once again, the Gnar gets destroyed by Commando, who was getting pushed a second ago. And it's really just turned on its head. Rainy might be a bit out of position if they can spot him, but looks like just the one-for-one trade for the time being.
Yeah, Passionfruit didn't need to lose Gnar there. I think he went in with a little bit of miscommunication from his team, thinking they'd follow through. Unfortunately for him, that wasn't the case, and he was picked up by Abyss.
And look at the Orianna going for the needlessly large rod. Of course, the Athene's Unholy Grail has already been picked up. Magic resist, cooldown reduction. Same as Morgana there, and it looks like they might be building similar to the same thing. I think the Orianna might be tending towards a Rabadon's for the time being.
Yeah, the Zhonya's is a lot more powerful for Morgana because basically you want to do that Soul Shackles into the Zhonya's combination. Basically, if when you're trying to burst it down, she just pops those Zhonyas out and there's nothing you can do but get stuck and stunned, which allows the rest of the team to come through and just sweep you away. Orianna prefers to have more upfront damage early. That Zhonya's is important, yes, but it's really nice to have that Rabadon's because if you do pull off your 3k Elo Shockwave, boom.
Boom,
Everyone
everywhere.
goes down.
That's right, and so far the Shockwaves have been on point. BTKO proving he's a great Orianna player when it comes to teamfight capabilities and really using that Shockwave on the backline effectively. The members of Passionfruit coming down this mid side looking for a siege. Don't think they're going to find it with a huge wave clear coming from Abyss, but for the time being, more and more pressure struggles up against this mid turret.
Pretty much. Maokai doesn't seem to be too phased by this. He's just making his way up on top lane. His TP is up, so if there is any action happening in the bottom lane, he can simply just TP down onto it. And there seems to be some happening. Abyss is caught.
Oh, he comes in, and then Zhonya's has been picked up by the Morgana, but doesn't get anyone with the shackles for the time being. The Absolute Zero doesn't do anything. Neither Rainy. He gets bursted down by the Shockwave. Xiao Mine is trying to get out of this one. He does efficiently, and Kodoroi doesn't pick up a kill, yet Commando goes down, and in retrospect, Rainy goes down as well. Both 80 carries are down.
Pretty much there in that situation. Rainy went a bit too far in. Yes, he managed to get that damage onto Commando, which helped him out a bit, because then he was caught out by the Shockwave and he was taken out really quickly as well.
Anime Cool still alive, so he's got some potential growth coming through. The Frozen Mallet, has that what's what I'm trying to say is, has that slowed him down in his process?
What do you mean, as in like his particular progress of the build that he
Well,
wants to go
at the
for?
moment, he can be very aggressive, sure, with his attack damage, but if he went for a Randuin's, do you think it would have been...
I see what you're saying. So do you reckon it's affected his team fight?
Yeah,
fighting?
yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does. He seems to, he's not as tanky as a normal Gnar would be. He's still fairly tanky, but the big thing is that he wants to be able to duel, and he hasn't been able to because Miss Fish has been running around a lot more into the team fights and has been finding his way at making sure he can avoid really Gnar one-on-one. So, of course, he wanted to play as a duelist potential, but he's not allowed to use that at the moment.
Xiaoman takes a lot of damage from that orb coming from Orianna. She's a pretty big cheese with her Rabadon's finally built. Of course, the Sorcerer Shoes are built as well. Sugoi getting rid of that pink ward. In retrospect, of course, the Morgana has the Zhonya's, able to use the shackles, go straight in. Righteous Glory gets popped there. We might see something come through, going straight on the Morgana. The Spell Shield is there. The Shockwave is used, but it's mainly just for the damage as Tremendo goes the Morgana, and the Lulu trying to do some work in this team fight. Looks like under the turret is the only way to go, and no one dies, but a lot of ults used by Abyss.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of engage shown there, but a lot of disengage and a lot of defense on the side of Passionfruit to really go through and keep Xiaomain alive. Xiaomain really helped Xiaomain there.
Yeah, Xiaomain did a lot of work in that team fight, and you see the Morgana, if he didn't use the Spell Shield just then, sorry, not the Spell Shield, yeah, of course the Spell Shield.
She used the Spell Shield?
Shockwave, you've got...
Zhonya's.
Yeah, there you go. But the point is, didn't have to use the Shackles, didn't have to use the Ultimate, used the Zhonya's to stay alive. The Lulu Xiaomain actually kept him alive, which a very well-placed ult. And if that wasn't done there, I think they would have been able to siege that turret.
Oh, yeah, definitely in that regard. And because of that, Abyss was under there as well. Abyss, Miss Fish was under there for so long. He took so much damage. He was on 10% on his way out. So it seemed to be like, a simple trade as well going on through. Now they're setting up wards in this particular river area so they can get control of the dragon. That's up in the next 45 seconds.
Passionfruit not looking as strong as they were at the start of this game. The best thing we've seen so far is the fact that Xiaomain has gotten a couple of other picks, but apart from that, no great team fights coming out from Passionfruit just yet. Of course, Abyss looking pretty strong, looking for Commando, but Coterie maybe not in good succession with his team. They back out and might look for maybe the dungeon. I was going to say the dungeon, but it's the jungle, obviously. Maybe a pick in the jungle. That's a possibility there.
That's definitely a possibility. The dragon is up in the next 15 seconds. They can probably sit there and wait for someone to come walk in unsuspectingly. But if they pick this up, this is the 4th dragon. That means the next one will be the 5th, and that's something that Abyss really needs to watch out for. They need to stop giving up these dragons. They've already got their 3rd.
Dragon is sitting on the edge of the rim, looking for potential prey to come in. All you see is a Morgana on the edge. She's going to get that Lee Sin instead. Sorry, I just had to do that. Mr. Monkey looking for someone in the pit. They do get BTK who gets stunned. Using that with the Morgana. Looking for Anime Cool. The culling comes out but misses absolutely everyone. Nah gets everyone against the wall as well. The Shockwave, though, is just a game changer. And now it's turned on its head as Mr. Monkey looks for the smite. He does find it. No skill shot necessary. Sugoi looking for its last prey. The zap hits. Commando's there. A double kill for Commando. And that is a freshly farmed ace setting up the Baron.
That was amazingly played there by PTK. That Shockwave really did turn it on its head. There was a lot of pushaways. You could tell Na really wanted to get into that fight and block everyone down, allowing the Soul Shackles to go through. But it was too late. He was pushed away by Jana. So much he could really do there. Everyone else is sort of starting to make their way in, pile in. They thought they could do a lot of damage. But unfortunately for them, boom, the ultimate went off, a lot of damage went through, and that turned that fight, and now they have the Baron.
And the director camera loves showing resonating strikes of Lee Sin going right next to him, but there's the Baron for Abyss, the first Baron of this game. 3 dragons, yes, they may have the movement speed, Passionfruit, but for the time being, they don't have this dragon. This is going to be the 6% adding on to the Baron buff. Going to be hugely scaling, probably going to be a pretty easy. Oh, as I say that, though, they're actually rotating down. They might actually catch him out with the Baron buff.
Yeah, they should definitely get out of there now. They've probably overstayed their welcome as is. Probably they may have got the Baron, but it looks like they're going to give up the Dragon.
Dragon is so much potential for that 6% scaling, that 6% stat. BDK did a lot with the Shockwave, and he actually does have it again, I believe. Already used it, and Xiaomane has to pop the Zonya's. Absolute Zero gets popped, but the kick, the Dragon's Fury, is absolutely devastating. Orianna destroys, and in the midst of it is just so much damage getting thrown out. Commando in that backline, so dangerous for the time being. You don't want to get a fistful of his dollars.
No, you definitely don't. In that situation, it was just Xiaomane was a little bit too far out. She thought she could go through and get another good hit off with her Soul Shackles, but that wasn't enough. She had the rest of she didn't have the team behind her, and then from that point, she was picked up, and another dragon, well, not the dragon, another dragon, the first dragon going to Abyss, and that's a really big pickup at this point in the game, because now all that extra gold and money that has been giving them bonus AD is just going to get amplified. Passionfruit
looking like they're in a bit of trouble here, so what can they do against Abyss? What is going to scale them against Abyss? Are they going to scale late game? I mean, the Baron buff is here, pushing potential, but what can Passionfruit do in this situation?
Abyss has the late game scaling team. The only person that really doesn't scale that too well, even then, is the Nunu versus the Lee Sin. But Janna is always relevant for the game. Maokai is always relevant. Look at them just pushing through right now. The damage from Abyss is insane.
The wave clear as well is just huge. Commando, and of course the mid laner we see BTKA is just huge at the moment. Orianna's wave clear, Orianna's sustain, and what do you do against an Orianna who can just push into the middle of the lane? Morgana, sure, she's got some great bursts. If she gets a pick, that's pretty much all she's good for. But at the time being, the team fight potential can't really get in that backline with the Shackles. Everyone has disengage. Everyone has anti-Morgana stuns, I like to call it.
Everyone does have anti-Morgana stuns. It's all a matter of kiting back and making sure you don't get caught. Oof. That is purely just positioning there. Almost getting hit there, but copping a rock to the face in the progress by Abyss there. That's just pushing through. Now the Siege is there. They don't even need Maokai to protect them when they push through.
No, they don't. And look, it looks like they might continue on that middle lane, or at least go for the bot lane. Unfortunately, it's not pushing for the time being. Commando taking up this turret quite nicely. The culling comes out, and Mr. Monkey looks for the resonating strike, but it doesn't look like he'll connect it there. And the mid turret probably going to go down at this stage. Jinx has her rocket, not going to send it out. The Righteous Glory gets popped, but a nice slow coming through. And there's the base, well and truly broken. Abyss have proved their worth, and they are real contenders for this game.
Oh, definitely. At this point, they are well and truly ahead. They've got the beginnings of the base cracked open. This gives them so much more pressure now for the rest of the game. They're making their way around. Hopefully they're going to try and get caught in by the counter re-engage. But Passionfruit aren't done. They're going to make sure when they punish them for running all the way towards their side of their jungle, they're going to push as hard as they possibly can right now.
Anime is cool. Going to try and take this one up. His Naba is nearly full, getting hurt that much. It's got to leave a sting in one's mouth. And Anime Cool only on a bit of health. They're going to get this mid turret. Oh, the Jinx Rocket nicely blocked by Chow Mein. And they're going to back out for the time being. Looks like Maokai has actually come in, and this could be an engage that actually sets the tone for the game. Miss Fish is tanky, but is he as tanky as he'd like to be, as the ult is already popped, and Nunu is not in any position to use his absolute zero. The Maokai looks for an engage. The Sonic Wave is not going to connect with the Resonating Strike, and looks like Passionfruit going to get away from this one, but with Super Minions pushing up the base, it's going to be hard as we move to a pause.
Definitely. They've got a lot of work to catch up for now on the side of Passionfruit. Whenever you lose an inhibitor, it is so hard to come back to from that regard. But it's going to be interesting to see what they can do to actually pull it off. They definitely do have the team synergy and the capability to make it happen. But Abyss have the scaling team. Abyss have the advantage now, and it's going to be hard to claw that back.
And with Baron minions, of course, for at least another minute 30, they're just going to push up this mid lane. They're going to really havoc this base, and we might be seeing an end to the game in the next 5 or 10 minutes, unless, of course, Passionfruit can get that pick they want. They can get that Nunu in the jungle in a tight space where he can control all 5 members. Morgana as well. This is what we talked about in the beginning. Their simultaneous ult can change the game. But only if they can get them off in peace. Only if they can do the damage required. And at this stage, not too sure they can do that.
Whenever your team has a wombo combo, it has a chance to come back. That's one of the beautiful things of the wombo combo. Because if you pull it off, then yeah, you're going to do a lot of damage to their team really quickly. And if you get an ace, you can just push for the win. Problem is, though, is that it's hard to do. You need to do a lot of positioning. You need to do a lot of work to get there. You need to make sure your wards are in play. But if the other team's careful, it might come down to luck.
Luck. There's no such thing as luck in League of Legends. No such thing as luck.
I don't know. Have you heard of this crit mechanic? Oh, it's a bit of it's a bit of a hard one to deal with, especially when it goes off sometimes randomly when someone's got one crit rune in between that runes and masteries.
Crit mechanic.
The crit mechanic.
Okay, that's fantastic to hear. But we look at someone like Nunu, who is such a big jungler at the moment, and he had an impact early game. This is what we got excited about in the early game, because his consume smite controlled that dragon early, pushed Lee Sin out of his own red. He sat there and waited. Consume smite. There was Lee Sin's red, all gone. Because the consume does more damage than smite, I believe, early if you max it first. And Lee Sin got punished in his jungle, but obviously not punished enough. He went to lanes, he got people fed, and the Gnar even teleported bottom at one stage, but just not enough.
There was a lot of plays going around trying to make it snowball in their favor that just didn't go through. That's probably on, I'd have to give that very well done by Abyss to make sure things didn't get out of hand too quickly. One of the big things coming through is they denied that 4th dragon from coming through, and that was partly on that massive shockwave thanks to BTKA. And the reason why it's so big is because, well, now you've stopped this dragon train. If they can't get to 5 dragons, which I honestly believe they were basing their game process behind that, then there's not much they're going to be able to do. They lost that team fight, lost the Baron, lost control, and from there, it's going to be very hard for them to get it back.
And look, control over these games is what's made the game in the end. You see these other teams like Krispy Kreme Crew who were favourites to win, but they didn't purely because they just couldn't control the game in this mid to late game stage. You don't have a LeBlanc in this one, but you have an Oriana who's just controlling these team fights. And control, I can't even put that in bigger capital letters. Those shockwaves are getting 4 to 5 members every single time. She's saving them for the most crucial moment. And as we resume to the game here, we're probably going to see another great shockwave come out very soon from BTKA.
I'm still waiting for the 3k Elo shockwave. She's been hitting those 2.5k ones at the moment.
Oh, yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there as we move on. And top lane is getting aggressive. The Baron buff is finally down a bit sooner than we thought. Corey looking for the absolute zero on Miss Fish. Miss Fish is the one taking all the aggression here, but it looks like their backline just too strong at the moment. Miss Fish trying to get Koroi, and a rocket makes short work of that. The culling goes on Sugoi, but Miss Fish flashes out of there before anything can happen. Oh, the rocket critical strike. It's just too much for the time being. Lucian gets out of there, but at what cost? There's the second inhibitor. The base is just getting so broken, and it's just turning into a massacre in here. The Jinx is huge. These Nexus turrets cannot stand up any longer. This may be the game, Mendrix.
Yeah, going through. There's another shockwave. Maybe we only got the one person there, but it's still enough to get the kill. And that's all you really need. And like you said, this is the end of the game, most likely.
The Super Mega Death Rocket misses, but that shockwave damage was sugoi. And that Janna just played so well with the disengage. We could not be more excited to see great plays like this in the Oceanic Open ladder. Seeing things like the shockwaves determinedly used for people like the Lucian and, of course, the Morgana, who didn't stand a chance. As soon as they walked into that team fight, they were instantly targeted by that Orianna and by the Jinx as well.
Yeah, and just going through that last team fight before we went off, the damage that was soaked up by Maokai was insane. This is why he's such a contested pick.
Oh, yeah.
And he's why he's seen throughout most of this Oceanic Weekly. He just takes so much damage and gives so much more for the team, and it allows them to make these plays. It allows them to pull off and get those targets off that they need, because they don't have to worry about being targeted by the tower. They don't have to worry about being targeted by someone else, and he's reducing everyone else's damage in the process.
And of course, Anime is Cool was our picked lane to watch this time, and he actually got more beat than I thought he would. He wasn't really a contender in that game at all. Maybe he should stick to that Aurelia, that Hecarim that he's so comfortable on, instead of moving towards the Gnar. He was a great Gnar, but I didn't see him hyper carried like he did in the other games.
No, definitely. He definitely did his job of trying to get in there and, you know, cause havoc and CC everyone up. But he seems to be better on those more carry roles, making plays for his team rather than setting up for his team.
You never know. Maybe it just wasn't the right team environment for the Gnar, but very good top lane and very good team all around. Of course, Passion, the passion was there.
Yes, the passion was definitely there.
And so was the fruit.
The fruit was tasty.
The fruit was very tasty, but that's not the only game we have today, of course. Make sure you stay tuned for the Oceanic Open ladder run by ACL. We'll be right back.